Everyone, it's Max Afterburner, former Thunderbird fighter pilot, F-15E combat fighter pilot, and today we're diving into what I'm calling the Tic-Tac files. Yeah, I said it. Did Lockheed Martin really build not one, not two, but three versions of that infamous Tic-Tac UFO? So in this video, we'll be breaking down the idea that Lockheed Martin reverse engineered alien tech from these Tic-Tacs into some conventional systems, or maybe they have these Tic-Tac systems ready to go. So is this reality, or is this just tinfoil hat theater? We'll be breaking it all down. I'm definitely suspicious, but with the scraps of proof that exists that we'll be reviewing in this video, who knows? Maybe we can come to some conclusions together. Alright, so the Tic-Tac story is legendary. Commander David Fravor and his wingmen, they spotted what they said was somewhere around a 40 to 50 foot white capsule hovering over churning ocean. No wings, no exhaust, and zipping from 80,000 feet to sea level in just seconds. So as a fighter pilot, that defies everything that I know of. No sonic boom, no heat trail, just pure what the f. But whispers say Lockheed Martin, the king of black projects, built three iterations of this thing. Let's pop to that video of Commander Fravor. We'll review it and I'll react to what he's talking about.
And if you look up in the little words where it says HDG and then BALT, it's autopilot. So it's on altitude hold, it's just flying for that. So you can go ahead and play the video. And so those two bars next to the white object, that's a passive track. So what he's done is he's commanded the FLIR to track that. So what the system does is it uses, it's actually tracking, it can track pixels, and it's just basically blocked those hot pixels, those white pixels from the black ones.
So this is kind of like a TV mode where it's looking at the pixels itself, it's honing in and seeing it. So there is something there, there is an object there. It does track shadows though. I've seen targeting pods sometimes lock on to shadows just based on the different pixels that it could be tracking. But this is really great tech. So the fact that it's locking onto this thing and holding it, it's probably going to struggle here at some point, but the technology of these targeting pods is strong. So the fact that it's seeing something there, to me as a fighter pilot, I believe there is something actually there. It's not just a shadow in this case. And yeah, then he talks about how the autopilot's on, so it does give you a little bit of situational awareness on what your jet's doing. So in the case of a single pilot cockpit, which wasn't the case for them, they actually had a Wizzo in the back. But if you were a single pilot cockpit, let's say in an F-16, this technology gives you the ability to know, all right, cool, my autopilot's on. I can divert a little more of my brain bites to this ridiculous Tic-Tac UFO.
And you're going to see now, pause it real quick. So up at the top, see it went to a white screen with a black object. This is a black and white TV mode. And if you look at the top, it says TV. So narrow in TV mode is actually, you can get closer than narrow in IR. It's literally, narrow in IR is about medium in TV mode. So there you can get closer with
beeps and squeaks of the targeting pod. That's what we're talking about right now. But I think he's basically getting at the fact that this targeting pod is functioning correctly. It's locking on to what it sees as an object out there. It's using technology that has stood the test of time to lock on to solid objects. Ideally, no one knows that we have this in the inventory, because as a segmented classified program, you don't want Russia and China knowing that you actually have something that's this capable. So to me, I get a little skeptical when I hear him talk about, you know, how this is alien technology for sure. Is kind of, that's the vibe I'm getting that he's hinting at. But to me, I look at this like this could be a very advanced program. And from a personal perspective, I have seen different orbs flying out over the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of the Carolinas. Lots of different orbs that we've locked up with our targeting pod. We couldn't see them on radar, so maybe some sort of stealth properties. There were times, actually, now that I think about it, there were a couple different times where we could actually see blips on the radar, like we call them little ghosts, where you'll see a little blip on the radar, and then you try to get your targeting pod right to where that blip is as soon as possible. And if you can do that, then you can maybe get a lock on with your IR or your TV mode of your targeting pod. But a lot of times these orbs were super small. They were very tiny. I would say much smaller, maybe like 5 to 10 feet instead of the 40 to 75 feet or so that is noted by Commander Fravor. So I've definitely seen orbs like this. But the interesting thing is the Air Force has much more of a tighter, strict policy on the targeting pod footage. So that stuff's locked up and basically sealed in an ironclad vault, where getting those things declassified, I believe, would probably take an act of Congress, whereas the Navy is a little more chill when it comes to releasing things like this. They don't have the exact oversight.
So even at 35 miles a minute, I'm going to be able to see this thing turn into a little dot as it goes off into the horizon for probably a minute. The thing that we saw disappeared in a second. Just gone. And that's from two different angles. Remember, the other airplane's 8,000 feet above me, because we get close to it at about 12,000 feet. So the other airplane's above me looking down, and when it disappeared, I said, "Do you guys see it?" And they said, "No, it's gone." It just literally was poof.
So that is very interesting, and to me that hints at an advanced type of propulsion that could be a lot of different things. Could it be reverse engineered alien technology? Sure. I mean, there's a chance of that, but this is obviously some advanced type of propulsion technology that Commander Fravor is talking about. There's also more scraps of proof. So Rep. Eric Burleson, he's a congressman who's been digging into UAPs. He dropped a bomb in July of 2025, and he says that he's talking to two separate sources with videos of the first, second, and third Tic-Tac versions. And he says he has photos too. So is this something substantial or just advanced projects with shapes that scream experimental drones? Burleson claims it's Lockheed tech with a revolutionary propulsion system. Is it suspicious? Definitely, because where's the video? Where's the high-res imagery? I want to see it. To me, this is like you're promising, hey, this new jet, it flies at Mach 3, and you show up to the hangar and it's a Cessna. You're like, wow, dude, you just killed my... And then there's investigative journalist Ross Coulthard. He's been yelling from the rooftops that Tic-Tac is categorically Lockheed Martin technology. He cites two independent aerospace insiders saying it's reverse engineered from earlier finds. Coulthard's podcast rants about how we're being lied to at the highest levels in the White House, with the national security state covering it up. But there's no hard documents, no high-resolution imagery, no high-resolution video. So at this point, I'm not saying he's wrong, but it seems like the source is, trust me, bro. And then there's David Grush. He's a former U.S. intelligence official and Air Force veteran. He served in key roles within the National Reconnaissance Office and an Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. He alleged that there's U.S. government programs that involve the retrieval and reverse engineering of non-human spacecraft and non-human intelligence by defense contractors. Grush claimed that companies like Lockheed have been hiding multi-decade programs with exotic tech from crashed UFOs, stuff that could rewrite physics. And I think one of his big claims was that this technology has only been given to one company or maybe a couple companies, when it should be let out to more companies being able to bid on reverse engineering it. That's tricky though, because when it comes to this type of technology, as an officer in the Air Force, what I saw was there's so many segmented programs, and that's actually a good thing because it could could keep a spy from Russia or China who might get access to some of the US vaults, that might keep them from actually getting all of the information on these systems, and maybe having it segmented into one contractor, at least to start, and then dividing it up among them after the technology has been properly classified. Maybe that is a strategy to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. I want this to be true. I want this propulsion to be in the hands of Lockheed Martin, because the Tic-Tac technology is just incredible. Obviously, I'm suspect if it really is, but I've chased radar ghosts like I talked about out in the Atlantic Ocean that turned out to be nothing, but I've also chased them that have turned out to be something. Small orbs and small cylindrical objects. I've seen many of those, so the fact that we could be testing those, it doesn't come as a surprise to me. So why would anyone leak about the Tic-Tac program, and why would the military use the Tic-Tac program if it's not needed? Maybe it's for some advanced type of defensive or offensive technology against intercontinental ballistic missiles. So maybe we'll never know how this works unless there was a nuclear war. So ideally, we actually never understand who owns this technology, and we never understand if it's Lockheed or if it's someone else. Ideally, we never even know that it is a Lockheed technology or an Air Force technology, because we never see a nuclear war. That would be the goal. And briefly, I want to talk about how Lockheed could have acquired these. So let's say there was some crash site that they got access to. From my view, it would be like upgrading from props in World War II to F-22 fighter jets overnight. It'd be thrilling and complex, and those challenges would be insane. Likely the biggest challenge would be, hey, don't accidentally kill yourself in this new UAP because you thought the F-22 handled like the P-51. You would just totally have to change your whole strategy for engineering and piloting, and who knows, the advanced tech probably doesn't even have humans in it, since those forces that we've seen the Tic-Tacs pulling would likely not be survivable to the human body. So with our current understanding of physics and the current technology, could it even happen? Could pilots actually even be inside of these things? So it looks to me from that class 1 that, yeah, maybe there could be a pilot inside of that thing, but also the way that it moves and changes direction could be totally disorienting. But that class 1, that could be the prototype. Maybe it's a basic capsule testing anti-gravity basics. So I picture that 40-foot Tic-Tac shell, no wings, and those patents from Lockheed Martin that could suggest high-frequency gravitational waves warping space-time, reducing effective mass to near zero. From the cockpit, I'd feel like I'm cheating gravity. No thrust needed, just falling in any direction that you choose. And the key would be being able to control the speed and direction of the fall. And that seems to be the case with this initial Class 1 Tic-Tac video. And from the F-18's targeting pods, flying up to 80,000 feet and then a second later hovering just above the ocean. This screams the ability to control the vehicle very well, even if that was just prototype 1. And then version 2 would be upping the ante with plasmoid tech. So Lockheed patents describe field reverse configurations, plasma toroids that create a bubble essentially shielding from air resistance. So the Tic-Tac shape shifting, maybe that was a change in color, a white to a purple glow as the plasma heats up. Like Fravor saw, maybe that's what was happening. Maybe it was heating up and cooling down. Is it suspicious? Yeah, for sure. And then version 3, what I like to call the cyber beast mode, it'd be integrated with different sensors, maybe psionics for mind control piloting. However, the rapidly advancing field of neurotechnology, specifically brain-computer interfaces or BCIs, that's exploring methods for individuals to control vehicles, including aircraft, using their thoughts and brain activity. Brain-computer interfaces and neuropiloting are next level level. So could that be what's intertwined into this class 3? So to me, that class 3 is very similar to what I saw up at altitude. I've got a full video breaking down that encounter. It was kind of a blob. It almost had glowing edges around the outside, and it was essentially like I was in a video game and it was saying like, hey, fly through this. It had glowing edges around the outside, kind of like that blob. But to me, could that be some sort of a BCI that interprets neural signals to facilitate communication between the human brain and external devices? Or the fact that it's a blob, maybe that means there can't be a pilot inside of this thing, so it has to have BCIs to control it. Because when I had that encounter with that blob type UFO, it looked like it was translucent and transparent in the center. So to me, there was really no place for a pilot to even be. So it would need some sort of a BCI to control it. But for pilots, this could mean controlling aircraft functions through neural commands, potentially enhancing performance and safety. Researchers are studying ways to process neural signals in real time based on pilots' cognitive responses. So to me, it's just the next level. But what came from these different prototypes, these 3 different prototypes? Could what was learned from these prototypes be being intertwined into conventional platforms and programs like these alien metamaterials? Could those now be in F-35 stealth coatings? Could those coatings be from Roswell memory metal? The propulsion tweaks, hybrid engines blending jet thrust with mass reduction for hypersonic drones. Think the RQ-180 or NGAD fighters with Tic-Tac derived agility, NJAD, or as we've come to call it on this channel, the Mega Chad F-47 fighter. Could that be intertwined with Tic-Tac derived agility? No more blackouts from G's, alien bio interfaces, neural links for pilotless control, intertwined in F-35 and F-22 helmets. Imagine being able to think about what a CCA like the Anduril Fury should be doing and then do it. It'd be like taking the time out of communicating via voice. I'm also suspicious because the integration of that would be extremely complex. But David Grush, he talked about programs blending NHI, that non-human intelligence, into our own technology. But there's no declassified photos or images, so right now it's all shadows. But could it happen and could it be useful? From my fighter pilot perspective, absolutely. But now what about Russia or China grabbing these things? Could they have this tech too, or is it just Lockheed's party? I'd say there's a decent chance, maybe a 60-40, that foreign powers are in the game as well. Both have advanced aerospace programs. China's hypersonic drones and Russia's stealth jets show they're not slouches, even though their technology lags behind ours.